just leave it go until it's done.
Try not to make too much sound.
Hi everyone and welcome to my presentation. Today I'm asking the question, does external factors influence our happiness? Bartram and Hyman are the readings I will be referring to today, so please keep a lookout for any links and pictures I've added in. As most of the content I'll be presenting to you will be in verbal form, so Bartram looks at work, life, relationships, wealth and health as a contribution to happiness. But I wanted to do a research study myself and find out the answers from local uni students as well as family and friends. I love reading Hyman's article, Pack Animals, in Chapter 5 because it directly relates to what I wanted to do. My main focus was to ask participants if basically, could you be happy without your friends? When I first asked my partner this, he said, well, no, and I said, why? He said, because I like to go out and do stuff. And then I said, okay, but can you not do said stuff without your friends? He said I could, but why would I want to? And I agree. It's always interesting to see that participants become vulnerable in these situations, and in my research, there were participants that skipped questions because they might have felt that their questions were too personal for them to answer at that time. Hyman's research asked participants pressing questions like, what do you think happiness actually is? What would you say makes you most happy in life? What do you think money and material things, why do you think money and material things don't make us happy? And my favourite, do you think we need to have good relationships with family and friends in order to be happy? And so my research started. Everyone has heard of SurveyMonkey, so that is the survey that I use to ask everyone on the university Facebook page. And I got quite a big response, nearly 200 responses, but because it was a free app, I only had access to 100 of those responses, so that's what I used for my survey. And what a better way to get a lot of participants and not have to have them face-to-face and be nervous when responding. The first question I got participants to answer was, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you right now? 1 being the least and 10 being the most. Most participants, you'd think, oh, I'm off uni, I can focus on my assessments, it's Easter weekend, so it's easy to get all my work done. 78% of respondents were rating between 5 and 8 out of 10, with majority of that percentage being in rating number 7. Most participants are falling not under the not completely happy, but they're not miserable either. So I had to know how much of that response was dictated by external factors. 44% said very much so, and 44% said a little bit, with only 1% at indifferent, 9% at slightly, and 2% at it doesn't. I'm finding more and more as the study went on that we found that happiness wasn't really coming from within. Okay, so now to the crucial part. How much do you rely on happiness from your friends? 36% said a bit, but a close 31% said that they could go without but prefer not to, which goes on to say that what my partner was saying is what everyone else sort of seems to think as well. Only one participant said that they would be happy never seeing their friends again, which is sad, but there may be external factors contributing to that answer. When it came to family, a massive 47% said that they could rely on family for happiness a bit. When it came to commitment to work, we had a massive 57% of participants say that work was important to them, but they aren't consumed with it, which is a great way to look at work, and not only just for work ethics, but also to have a work-life balance as well. Only 2% said that they couldn't care less about their happiness with work, and it appears they only attend to pay the bills. All these factors, as Bartram and Hyman outline, are part of the contributions to happiness and overall make up what can make someone happy. You might be in a job that you hate, but you have a flourishing life outside of work that keeps you satisfied. Or on the flip side, perhaps a life outside of work that is not all that great, but going to work makes you feel fulfilled, and so you're going to be a lot more dedicated to your job. Considering what I said earlier about happiness coming from within, 70% of participants said that they feel happiness comes from both relationships in society and social networks, family, and friends, as well as from within. So, what then do people do to achieve this happiness? What do they believe brings them the ultimate euphoria? If happiness comes from within, what do you do to achieve this? The most effective and common responses were development of self-awareness, living in the moment, reflect on things I am grateful for, exercise and meditation, to see things positively and be kind to myself and others, learn to let things go that make me unhappy or that I can't change. If happiness comes from relationships, what do you do to achieve this? The most common responses were to work on relationships day by day, surround myself with people that make me happy and positive, stay in contact and show them how much I love them, try to be alone as little as possible, cut off toxic people. I have my dog, he is my best friend and he makes me happy, which is such a lovely response. And know which relationships to value and spend quality time with those people. In conclusion, happiness does have external factors that influence people's happiness, but it does vary for everyone. More exposure to social environments do not always lead to positive interactions. This was also mentioned in Hyman's paper where a guy contacted his ex-girlfriend and he was absolutely shocked to find out how unhappy she was, because although she had holidays booked and she'd travelled a lot of places and made it seem like she'd successfully left the world behind, she was lonely and didn't have many friends around her to support her in her endeavours. This is where we learn that material things do not always buy happiness. In Hyman's paper, she asks a participant, what do you think happiness actually is? And he comments on what makes him happy is what makes others happy too. However, when she asked another participant about unhappiness, they commented saying, if you have your health, you can be happy. However, if you see a parent with a disabled child in a wheelchair, how can those parents be totally happy inside? Because it's so heartbreaking to see. She asked another participant about work, and the participant said, by choice, I didn't work for 4 years. I just read books and read things on the internet. I actually became so depressed and had a bit of a meltdown. You have to learn how to lift yourself out of that and learn how to move on and continue with life. Hyman asked another participant, what would you say makes you happy in life? She responded with, my children are well and my husband is well. They are the most important things in my life. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is in the forum, could you please comment on the things that make you happy and whether they are external factors that contribute to that? For example, with me, my happiness comes from booking holidays, so knowing at the end of the university session, I've got something to look forward to and something to get me through the rough times, although I know that that is spending money and it is a material thing, that's something that makes me happy. Another thing that makes me happy is, I haven't spent money to do this, but we bought a Super Nintendo and me and my partner like to play Donkey Kong on that, so that's another thing that makes me happy. So if you could please, everyone, comment in the forum and let me know what makes you happy and whether there's external factors contributing to that happiness. Thank you so much, and hopefully I get a good mark on this. Thank you.
Go, go, go.